All right, we are live, ready to go. So today we're going to work on core. And why is that important? Because I like to stand up and be bipedal, right? If this isn't strong, then this kind of ties in a little bit with the osteoporosis. But if we can't stand up tall, our heavy rib cage smushes all of our lower internal organs. We can't breathe well. It ages us, basically. So we want this nice strong core so we can stand up nice and tall, walk properly, and live longer, happier lives. All right, so grab a chair and we're gonna start, I don't know where we're gonna start. We're gonna start standing up. So, let's find our fabulous tall posture first. So you can start with toes touching up to hip width distance apart. And we're gonna look at, I like 3 points of the feet, but we're gonna do 4 today just for fun because you gotta keep the brain cells working, right? You gotta switch it up and think in different terms. Something I say differently might kind of connect differently. So we're gonna go 4 points of the foot, big toe, little toe, inside of the heel, outside of the heel. So we'll do 1 foot at a time. Did I do this last week? No. I don't think so. Okay. So we're going to root down with the inside of the heel. So feel that kind of point into the earth. And then we're going to cross and go to the pinky toe. Push the pinky toe in while you're still holding that inside of the heel down. And then we're going to go across the toes to the big toe. Push that pad of the big toe in. And then we're going to cross the foot again, go to the outside of the heel. So all 4 of those points. And let's go the other foot. We're going to do it in a different order this time, just to see if you can feel a difference. Let's start with the big toe. Push that into the floor. And then the outside of the heel on that same foot. And then we're going to go inside of the heel. And we're going to cross up to the pinky toe. So we're crossing the bottom of the foot. We've got those 2 toes, outside, inside of the heel. So that's just a reference point. If you like different points, that's fine. But just something to like, especially if you walk a lot and your feet get tired, kind of stretching out the toes just inside your shoes can kind of release a little bit of that tiredness in the feet. All right, knees facing forward, kind of aiming for the second and third toe with the knees. Tendency, if your feet are in a different position than what you're used to, the knees can come in or come out, so you want them nice and straight. And then pelvic tilt, that neutral pelvic tilt. I know we've worked on this before. And then hip points towards each other, so we're strengthening that lower abdomen, keeping all the lower guts contained. And then we'll do 1 more. So we can do both at the same time. So taking the the collarbones away from each other and kind of up on top of the shoulders. And then as we're doing that, that's going to pull the shoulder blade points towards each other. Kind of like you have a clothespin pinching them together. All right, take a couple breaths. Notice the difference, how much taller we all look. And so we're working on core today, but it's going to tie in a little bit with thinking about osteoporosis and osteopenia, and mostly just bone health. Everybody needs strong bones to stand up and defy gravity. So one of the things with osteoporosis is we don't want to do a lot of forward folds. 2 things with that is falls. You fall over and break something because your bones aren't as strong, or the front of the spine collapses and the vertebrae break. So that one is not good. So we're going to do a little bit more. I know the faces in the crowd. Wish you could see them. So we don't want to do a lot of forward folding. The forward folding that you want to do is when you hinge at the hip and keep the spine straight, like that, instead of dumping down, okay? So if we do anything, we're going to keep that in mind. All right, first thing, so let's do cat and cow to warm up. Now, if this was a class for osteoporosis, you wouldn't be doing the cat part. You wouldn't be doing the round. You're just doing the cat. So if that's a concern for you, cow to neutral. So that's going to be back bend to neutral. Otherwise, go ahead and start your back and forth here. Cow is your inhale, exhale, cat. Excellent. All right, so we're going to go slightly out of order on some stuff here. We would be doing, so we're going to go up and then work our way down. So our next one, we're going to go ahead and do some warrior one and lunge work. All right, so we're going to start with our warrior one. Turn one foot out, step the other foot forward. And I like to give the knee a little bit of a warm up before we go into it. So we're going to, again, aim for the second and third toe area. We don't want to be going that way or that way. I'm exaggerating here. So we're going to exhale, bend, inhale, straighten. And take a moment and check in with those spots on the feet. If that back calf gets tight, if that's too much of a stretch, move the feet closer in or bend that back knee. All right, let's push off, step back, we'll switch feet. Turn the back foot out a little bit, step that other foot forward. Check the rooting of the feet, toes and heel. Exhale, bend, inhale to straighten. Excellent. All right. Push up, step back. Now we're going to add the arms. So since we're looking at the core here, and we're going to do a little bit more back bendish stuff, we're not going to go big back bend with the warrior one. So let's go back to that first foot. And instead of arms straight up, we're going to bring the arms out. So we do that occasionally. And that is going to help that rounding that we're prone to do as we get older. All right, so arms out in front. You're going to inhale, open, bend that front knee. Exhale, bend. Inhale, open. Exhale, bend. Excellent. One more. Beautiful. And then we'll step back, do the other side. Arms out and bent. Inhale, open. Exhale, back. Excellent. One last time. Very nice. All right, I want to show you one thing before we do our next thing, posture-wise. So if we put our hands on our hips, I don't know if you guys can see my shoulders here. So I'm going to stand up in my mountain pose, and then I'm going to come into hands on hips. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but my shoulders are rounding forward. My hips are coming forward. That's not what we want to do. So I know it's, you're talking to somebody, you get bored, you put your hands on your hips, and all of a sudden you're a foot shorter. So that's why I started the feet. And even putting your hands in your pockets, it's not quite as pronounced, but I do that a lot, put my hands in my pockets. They used to make women's pants with better pockets. They don't as much anymore, so it's not as much of a problem, but just kind of to keep you paying attention to what this is doing. So hands on the hips, we're rounding forward. We want to drop the arms and maybe take the thumbs and point them out. Your friend's not going to notice if you're doing weird yoga poses while they're talking to you. And the other thing that happens is if they're all slumped, we kind of mirror each other. So if you start standing up tall, maybe they will too. All right, so let's go. We're going to go to the chair. We're going to do a couple of things with the chair here. So this kind of isn't in an order that we usually do, but that's okay. We're here for fun. Pain-free fun, right? All right. Some people think if you use a chair, it's cheating, but I promise you we're going to do more work using the chair here. So when we're talking about the core, we have not just the front muscles, but we have the side muscles too. So we want to strengthen those too, because a lot of times you twist and you go, ah, I just did something in my back, and you don't know what it was because this isn't strong here either. Yeah, okay, so we're going to do triangle in the chair, and we're going to do it with the chair, and you are required to do it that way. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we've got the chair on our right side. The chair is going to be on the mat. If you have socks on and you're stepping off the mat, please be careful, just so you're not slipping anywhere. You're holding on the chair, so you should be okay. All right, so I'm looking at the chair this way. It's on my side. I'm going to step my right foot forward because the chair is on my right side. Does that make sense? Other foot. Put the leg closest to the chair. There you go. Got it, got it, got it. No, you're fine, right there. Exactly there. Got it, got it.
You're back.
Got it. Perfect, okay. Yes, either way, that's good. That leg that's closest to the chair is gonna be the one in front. All right, so the back foot's in a little bit of an angle. I'm not that worried about that back foot. So when we're in class, I don't walk around and adjust people. That's part of our scope here with GI Yoga. But we do get a lot of, when we're in triangle, we get a lot of funny looking stuff. So this is what we're doing here today. I'm adjusting you with your chair from a distance. So we're not aiming to get to the floor or our foot. We're going to bring the hand closest to the chair on the chair. So if you have your left foot next to the chair, your left hand goes down. Right leg, right hand. Okay, so next we're going to take the upper shoulder hand and put it on the hip. Now we're going to take that shoulder, the upper shoulder, and we're going to send it back towards the chair. Does that make sense? Much better, much better. Excellent. All right, so you may not be able to get that deep into a twist here. Don't push it. Just go to a comfortable position. So what do we?
Feels good on that right wrist.
Yeah. So if it's too much on the hand, I mean, it feels good for you. If it's too much, you can hold the chair in a different position. And we're not putting weight on this arm. It's just there so we don't crash over. So from here, so we're doing two things. We have a lateral and a twist, and that's strengthening this side body, your transverse abdominis. There's two layers of them. I know, it gets complicated. So If you're okay here and nothing hurts, if it hurts, come out. If you're like, okay, I could go a little deeper, you can take that upper arm and bring it up towards the ceiling. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. If you have a shoulder, wrist, whatever. And then the other thing is the palm of your hand, in theory, maybe your shoulder doesn't twist that way, should be facing the same direction as your nose. If you're looking out towards the horizon, your palm should be facing that direction. If your neck is okay, you could actually look up at your thumb. If it's not, don't. And then we're going to extend. So where can you extend in this pose? The head. If your front knee is bothering you, you can bend it a little bit. All right, to come out, if your arm is up, you can grab that invisible rope and pull up. If it's not, push into the chair. We're going to step the feet together. All right, shake it out. We don't usually stand in a position like that for very long, right? Feels weird. We come in and come out, come in and come out. But to build that bone strength, we need to have weight and we need to do time. All right, so let's do the other side. So we're going to switch feet. You can just switch. You want to switch your chair, that's fine, or just switch your leg. All right, bring that front leg, front hand to the chair. And start with that upper shoulder hand on the hip. And then send this shoulder back. So here to here. So we're opening this side body, strengthening, hopefully, right? A bit of breath. And then if you want, you can bring this upper arm towards the ceiling. If you're feeling it in a place that you're not expecting it to, then we need to adjust. So right now I am feeling it in my hip because I'm leaning back. So I'm going to move my foot back, and now it's on my side body again. So we'll take a couple more breaths here. If it gets uncomfortable, come out. Extend with the crown of the head away from the torso. If it's okay with your neck, you can look up at that thumb. Otherwise, look out at the horizon. If your hand gets sore, you can make a fist and rest on the fingers. But you shouldn't be dumping your weight on that arm. We want the side body to be holding us up. All right, ready to come out. Grab that invisible rope, bend that front knee, come up, and step the feet back together, shake it out. All right, so usually in our regular class, we would do a bunch of forward folds, right? We're not going to do that. We're going to do some back bends. You have your chair, and maybe we stand with the chair in front of us. You're not going to be able to see me if I do that, so I'm just going to move it out of the way. But you can stand with the chair in front of you. So find your feet again. 4 corners or 3, doesn't matter. Root them down, feel the space. So we're going to do a simple back bend. Be careful with your neck. We want to keep this long. We don't want to be crunching up like that. So keeping the head long away from the shoulders. And we're just going to start very simple, not very far. If you feel warmed up and you want to go a little further, that's fine. I'm not picking anybody up off the floor today, so don't go further than you can't get back up. Hands can be on the chair, which is great, or if you want, on the back like that. See, I already did a little back bend. Just put my hands back there. All right, feet can be a little wider for a little more stability. Soften the knees. We're going to look straight ahead. On the inhale, we're going to bring our gaze up towards the ceiling, and we're opening up the front of the body. You don't want to be using the quads for this by pushing the hips forward, so keep the pelvis squared. And we're just going to look up as far as is comfortable. Exhale, come back down. All right, we're going to do that 2 more times. You can stay longer if you want, just don't get dizzy. If you get a little dizzy, you're going to sit in your chair. All right, here we go. Looking straight ahead, inhale. Eyes go up, keeping the neck nice and long. Exhale, come back. Nice. One more breath, and then we'll do it one more time. Looking straight ahead, inhale, coming up. You might notice the shift in your weight on the feet. Mine went to the front of my feet. Try and keep it closer to the center of the feet. And then on your exhale, come back. All right, so we're opening that up. We also want to strengthen it. All right, let's do our warrior 3. We're going to use the chair. So again, for this one, we are strengthening the femur, thigh bone. Let me see. Do it like this so you can see. Well, they don't want to see that way. All right, we'll do it this way. So we're going to use the chair because couldn't get the blocks, and it's not cheating because we're using strength here. All right, so we want to be about torso distance. If you have super long legs, you might want the top of the back of the chair instead of the seat. It just depends on your body proportions. You may have to flip around. All right, so feet are torso distance back. We're just going to hinge at the hips. That's important. We don't want to round down. We're going to hinge at the hips and bring the hands to the seat of the chair. So you can hold the sides, or if it's comfortable, just to have the hands however you want them. All right, so let's start with one foot. We're going to send one foot, toes back behind us. We want to keep the lower back flat across that way as we lift the legs. We don't want to flip up with one hip higher. That's going to get into sciatica issues. All right, so toes on the floor. When you're ready, we're going to lift that leg up. So check in with the 4 corners of the foot on the floor. We're going to breathe here. Don't hold your breath, but keep the breath going. So we're putting most of our body weight on that one leg. And we're doing a little balance. One more breath. And then bend the knee. Foot comes down to the mat. You can stand up if you want. Let's take a break. And then let's do the other side. Hinge at the hip. Arms come to the chair. Toes of the second foot go back on the floor. When you're ready to lift, we're going to lift that leg up. Extend through the crown of the head. Back through the heel. Toes point towards the floor. And we're strengthening that right, or the second leg. Toes and heel. Noticing what that straight leg foot is doing. Another breath or so here. Excellent. And bend that knee, set the foot down, bend the knees, and coming up. All right, and no rounding the spine up. Try and come up like that, just for this class. If you do it a different way, that's fine, but I'm trying to get that nice and strong. All right, one more with the chair, and then we will come down to the floor and work really smart, not just hard. All right, we're going to do side angle pose in the chair. So we're going to do this seated. So we're going to sit on the chair. You what? You're ready to sit. Awesome. Everybody gets A's. Get our gold stars out, right? All right, so we're going to take one leg and swing it so that it is perpendicular to the chair. Okay. Sorry, I just had to think for a minute.
That's okay.
And actually, if you want to kind of edge up a little bit, so I'm the end of my leg is kind of at the edge of the chair. The second leg isn't as important. It can be wherever it's mostly comfortable. It's not doing a lot of the work. We're going back to that side body. All right, so 2 options here. You can rest your forearm on that 90-degree leg, and this leg can come out. If it comes out further, it's more work. If that's too much work, bring the foot back in. All right, so that's our start. We're kind of leaning over onto that front leg. So we're adding weight to that leg. We're adding strength to the side body here, and in a slightly different place than we did with the triangle. Then we're going to take this other arm that's not resting on that front leg, and we're going to lift it up. So if this is super easy for you and you want to make it a little bit more difficult, you can bring this front arm down to the floor. I don't have blocks because I couldn't get in the closet, but if you can go that far, great. If not, stay up here. We're all in different bodies, so the floor may be further away for you than it is for me. There's no judging on our body length. We didn't pick them. It's just how we came. All right, so we're breathing here, breathing into that side body where we've got strength. We don't want to collapse onto that side, so we want to hold the spine up. So if we're kind of struggling to get to the floor, that's too far. All right, this one's so much fun. We're going to take one more breath. And then we're going to come out. You can push off and lift up. And then we'll switch sides. Perpendicular with that front leg, second side, other leg can come out to the side, or you could even tuck it under if that's comfortable. It's not comfortable for me. Front leg, front arm, resting on the top of that thigh. Straighten out that spine, nice. And then if you want, you can bring this upper arm up. You can stay on your hip or stay on your lap, that's fine. We want to make some work, so we don't want to collapse down onto that other arm. We don't want that arm and shoulder doing the work. We want the body, the torso doing the work. And then again, if you want to come down to the floor, you can. That's not super comfortable for me. I'm going to stay up, but that's an option. If it's uncomfortable, you don't want to be feeling that later. All right, let's take one more breath here. And then coming out. Beautiful. All right, so now comes the hard work. We are going to come down to hands and knees. Oh, wait, before we do that, if you have uncomfortable wrists, let's move the wrists first before you come down there. Because we have a few poses on hands and knees. So if you need a blanket for your knees, I have an extra yoga mat if you want to roll that mat up. Or if you want to put your hands on the towel, we're going to do that. Our first pose is going to be downward facing dog. We're going to do some super dog stuff. Woo! All right. So let's come down to hands and knees. And again, if you want to do just cow to neutral, you can do that. We're not going to do any sit-ups, and I can explain why sit-ups don't work for core strength, if anybody thinks they do. but I'll do it after class. And then we're gonna do this. We're gonna do upward facing dog, or I'm sorry, we're gonna do downward facing dog. So walk your hands out just a little bit, curl the toes. We're gonna inhale, lift the hips up. And then let's just walk our dog just a little bit. And then this next one is skippable if you don't want to do it. But we're going to do a three-legged dog. So bring one foot kind of in the center of your mat. And we're going to lift that second leg as far as is comfortable. So if you have tight hips, it's not going very far, is it? And you can come up on the toes of that back foot or stay down closer to the heel, that's fine. And then bend the knee, both feet back to the mat. Take a full breath here. Maybe walk the dog a little bit. Bring that second foot to the center. And then we're going to lift the other leg up. Three-legged dog. So that takes some core strength to lift that leg. Beautiful. And then set it back down. We're going to come back down to the knees. And then let's do one more. Come back up one more time for the down dog. Curl the toes, lift the hips. And we're just going to do one elbow each time. So right knee to right elbow and back. Left knee to left elbow and back. And then we're going to come down to the knees. All right, let's come into child's pose for a release. And you can keep the hands stacked and rest the head on the hands. And then from here, we're going to come up to hands and knees again. And we're going to do our spinal balance. All right. So we'll start with left leg back, right arm forward. And we don't want to be passive with the abdomen. We want to pull the belly button in a little bit, but still be able to breathe. And then set that side down, we'll go the other side. And then come down. And then if you feel like you want more of a workout today than usual, I'm just gonna do one, but you can do multiple here. So go back to that first side, and we're gonna bring knee to elbow. Right to left or left to right, and then extend. We're gonna come down if you wanna do a couple more. Slowly with the breath, that's fine. And then let's go to the other side. And I'm gonna do one, you can do more, elbow to knee. And then extend out. And then come down when you're ready. All right, so I only did one because I'm gonna do one more fun little spinal balance. I don't want to say trick, but it's kind of a trick. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the first side. Left leg back, right arm forward. And then I'm gonna take my arm out to 90 degrees and my leg out to 90 degrees. Beautiful. And then slowly bring it back and down, and then the other side. Other arm, other leg, and then arm comes to 90, and leg comes to 90. And then bring it back, and set them down without falling. All right. Next one, we're gonna come and Take a break on the wrists, maybe circle them around. You can come up. Because next we're going to do plank. So a couple of options with plank. You can do it, you can skip it. If you've had enough, come into child's pose. If you want to, if your wrists are tired and exhausted and you want to give them a break, you can do forearm plank, which is you're on your forearms instead of on your hands. Or again, child's pose is fine. And then the thing I want to emphasize is that straight line. So the heels, the hips, and the head should be in a straight line. Two things to watch out for. If your hips are higher than your head, it's not dangerous, but you're not doing any work. One thing that is dangerous is if your hips dip below your shoulders, that's not safe. So see if you can feel what you're doing. I'm going to look up and make sure we're all in alignment on that, okay? Either forearms or regular or child's pose. All right, hands on the mat. We're going to curl the toes and come into our plank. You want to keep your gaze towards the floor so you're not pinching the neck. Excellent. And then we'll come down. Take a breath. Come into child's pose. If you're done, I'm going to do 2 more planks. I'm going to do side plank on each side. So you can just do a regular plank. You can do side plank with me or child's pose. I'm going to do modified side plank. So I'm going to keep my one knee down. So side plank. All right, I'm going to go sideways here. All right, so we're going to come into plank. We're going to put one knee down. And we're going to bring the other arm up. So if that's too much weight on one wrist, skip it. If you, let's see, can't do it off the mat. If you're in your side plank, you can lift that other leg up. All right, come back down. And let's do the other side. Both feet back. And bring the other knee down. And the second arm up. If you have the wrist strength and the core strength, knee off the ground. Beautiful. Breathe. And then come on out. Come into child's pose. When you're down there, release the wrist. All right, and then when you're ready, no hurry, come up to seated. And then we're going to make our way down onto our backs. So I don't know if we're going to get to the belly stuff or not, but I figure we'll go on our backs and give our wrists a break here. All right, so the first thing we want to do is, oh, you guys are already back down. Okay, we're going to do L's and B's, lowering the legs, and bridge. So let's do our bridge first. All right. This way. So hands on the knees if you're not already down, coming down onto the flat of the back. And before we come into our bridge, let's do a couple of one-legged Appanasanas. So start with both feet on the mat. We're going to bring one knee in. On an exhale, inhale, set it down. Exhale, second knee comes in. Inhale, set it down. Just do that a couple times each side. And then bring both knees in. Both knees out, do that 1 or 2 times, maybe 3. And then when you're ready, we're going to set both feet down on the mat. And we're going to do 2 rounds of bridge, and then we're going to do a super bridge. We're going to do a suspension bridge. All right. So first one, if you want to do robot arms, so bend at the elbows, fingers point up towards the ceiling. Feet are in line with the knees and the hips. On the inhale, we're going to lift just the hips. And they don't have to go super hard or super high, just kind of getting some lift here. So I want you on this next one to see if you can lift from the hip points, because we're trying to engage the core muscles, not the glutes. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, bring it back down. All right, second time, we're going to add the arms. And you have the option of bringing the arms kind of out to a Y instead of straight overhead. That might feel better. So we're going to inhale, lift, arms up overhead, in kind of a Y. Exhale back. Again, inhale, arms coming up. Wherever that feels comfortable, exhale, bring it back. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, arms up, hips up. Exhale, arms down, hips down. All right, so now we're getting into our next phase here, making a little bit more work for the core. So we're going to inhale and lift just the hips up. We're going to bring the hands together under the hips if you can. If not, just have your arms by your sides on the floor, or where your sides would be if they were on the floor. So maybe you can tuck your shoulder blades closer together. If not, that's okay. We're going to start with the right foot. So push into the left foot and lift that right foot up towards the ceiling. Take a breath. And then set it back down on the floor. Keep the hips up, and we'll go to the other side. Left foot comes up towards the ceiling. Take a full breath. And then set it back down. Move the hands out of the way, and we're going to come all the way down. That wasn't so horrible, was it? Okay. That was a very enthusiastic no. No, I haven't left the room, but all right. So next we're going to do L's and V's. So that's the one where we bring the legs up so we look like the letter L. And then we bend the knees and bring the legs out wider. And then we bring the legs in closer. All right, so here we go. And you can keep your arms down by your sides or bring them up overhead, whichever one you like. All right, so here we go. So we're going to inhale, feet come up, arms up, overhead. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to knees. Inhale, legs a little wider. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to knees. Inhale, a little wider. Exhale, hands to knees, bend the knees. Inhale, a little wider. Exhale, bend the knees. And this one is as wide as you can come back from. Exhale, bend the knees. And now we're going to go closer. Inhale, open, not quite as wide. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, a little closer. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, a little closer. Exhale, bend the knees. And one more. Inhale, legs straight up. Exhale, bend the knees. All right, now we're going to take that idea and make it a little harder. So if that was enough for you and you want to rest, you can do some Apanasana or just relax. Otherwise, we're going to bring the knees in and then the legs up. And then I'm going to bring my arms out to a T for more balance, but you can leave them down by your sides or anywhere in between. And we're going to inhale with the legs up, On the exhale, we're going to bring the legs down towards the floor a little bit, not all the way. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift the feet back up. Exhale, release the legs towards the floor. A little bit farther, maybe not. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the knees in. Inhale, shoot the legs back up. Exhale, going maybe a little further, maybe not as far. And then exhale, bring the knees in. Let's do one more. So we're going to inhale, lift the legs up. Exhale, let the legs down towards the floor. If anything doesn't feel good, come out. And then exhale, bend the knees into the chest. Hug the arms around the knees, and if you want, you can rock side to side. And maybe take a couple of apanasanas if that feels okay. All right. So we're going to roll over onto one side and come up to seated again. Or actually, we haven't really done any seated stuff. So unfortunately, we do have time to do some stuff on the belly. Sorry. All right, we're going to do boat pose next, and then we'll come over onto prone. All right, so for boat pose, there are plenty of options here. So you can bring your hands behind you and just lift the legs so you're supported. That's probably not going to be a lot of work, but if you're sore and that's all you got, that's okay. All right, so after that, we're going to, so we're sitting up nice and tall, and then we lean back a little bit. You bring your hands kind of by your knees, or maybe a little bit further, depending on how strong we are. And then we can start with one leg at a time. So we're going to lift shin parallel to the floor, and then set it down. You can come back up, and then come back. The other side, shin parallel to the floor. Check in the screen, and then set it back down. All right, one more level up if you want. You can stay where you are and skip it. So come back, and we'll do both legs. So hopefully this is engaging some muscles, or maybe a lot of muscles. All right, come on out. Next level up is legs straight, arms straight. I always roll out. Oh, wait, I can do it with a blanket. All right, if you have a towel or blanket and you want to try this one, set it up right behind the hips. Let's see if I can do this without falling over. Okay, so we'll start with position 3. Legs out, arms out, extend legs, extend arms. Okay, I still can't do it. I made it like a half a second. Nice, way to go. All right. Phew. All right, let's take a breath or two here before we come down onto the belly to get our breath back to not panting. Okay, so we're gonna do just 2 on the belly. And then we'll come back on the back and be done. All right, so roll over onto the belly. So we're going to do baby cobra first. I don't like doing full cobra because most people just put all of the energy into the arms and it does nothing for what the purpose of the pose is, and that is to strengthen up the front of the body. All right, so we're just doing baby cobra here. So 2 things. Hands are kind of under the shoulders somewhere. and you can actually lift them up the floor because you're not using them. The other thing, very, very important, is instead of lifting up and looking up, we're going to keep the eyes looking at the floor till we get all the way up. So you're going to lift from the back of the neck like the mother cat picks up the kittens. Okay, so I know this isn't terribly comfortable, so we'll do it medium quick. All right, so kind of tuck the chin under a little bit. We're going to inhale as we lift from the back of the neck. Just going a little bit up, not very far. And then we're going to turn and look a little bit further up. On the exhale, tuck the chin back down and bring the forehead down to the floor. If that's comfortable. You may have to put your hands under your forehead. That's totally fine. You guys want to do that one more time? Let's do that one more time. All right. Hands under the shoulders approximately. We're going to lift from the back of the neck. Keep the chin tucked under, coming up just as far as is comfortable. Tilt the head, look up a little bit forward, not up towards the horizon. And then on the exhale, tuck the chin back down and release back down to the floor. Nice. All right, locust. If you're tired of being on your belly, that's totally fine. Roll over and you can be done with that. Locust is another one of those that has many options. We're just going to do the legs, so we're not overdoing back bends. All right, so we're going to keep the forehead. I have my head up so I can talk, and I'm talking into the floor. So we're going to just lift the legs here. We can do one at a time and then both. So I'm going to bring my hands onto the floor and rest my forehead on my hands. And then using those core muscles, I'm going to lift my right leg up. And it may not go very far, that's okay. If you've got tight hip flexors, you just got to work with them. Rest that leg down. We're going to lift the other leg up. Beautiful. And then to lift both legs up, you may want to bring your arms out to the side or down by your sides. I'm going to keep that chin tucked. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift both legs up. They may not get very far. That's okay. And then release them back down. Beautiful. Take 1 or 2 breaths here. And then we're going to caterpillar it, and roll over onto our backs. Or you can sit up and come back down. That's fine too. And then we just have 2 more poses before our relaxation pose. All right, so feet at the top of the mat, hands on the knees, rolling down onto the spine. If you want, if it feels good, take a couple apanasanas. I'm not including this in our count. It's just because it feels good. All right, so we're going to bring both feet down to the mat when you're ready. And we're going to do a supine twist here. All right, so let's bring both arms out to the side. And there's a couple versions here. If you are in relaxation mode and you don't want to do much more work, we're just going to keep the feet and the knees a little bit apart and just bring them over. Keep one knee straight up and bring the other knee over, kind of like windshield wipers or half windshield wipers, kind of like that. If you want to make more work, we're going to bring the feet and the knees together and then lift them up off the floor. If you don't have any back problems, I'm okay with you doing this. And then we're going to bring both knees and feet over to one side. You can turn and look the other direction. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other side. If you've got any back issues, stick with the other one. So we're going to do 2 to 3 on each side, moving with the breath, nice and slow. And then once you bring everything back to center, knees into the chest, we're gonna go a couple of Apanasanas here. And go ahead and do it wide-legged Apanasana. Give that lumbar spine a little space. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to do Happy Baby because we are having so much fun. All right, feet up towards the ceiling. Grab the legs wherever you can. The shins, the knees. 2 fingers around the big toes. And we're going to rock side to side. And then when you're ready, release that. A couple more Apanasanas. And when you're ready, feet come down to the mat. And then we're going to extend the legs all the way straight out if that's comfortable. If it feels better, just bend the knees and lead the feet into the floor and then drop the knees towards each other. That might feel better today after all the work we've done. Otherwise, you can extend both legs all the way straight out. And before we totally relax, we're going to imagine that our feet are pressed up against the wall or the earth and check in with those 4 points of the feet just to feel where they are. And then if you want, because you have your chairs, you can bring your legs up on your chairs for relaxation, or legs straight out, or knees bent, feet on the mat. I'm going to sit up so you can hear me better. And let's do a full body relaxation, walking down the spine. Sorry, walking up the body. I'm going to start at the feet and let everything go. Just release it into the earth. Starting with the toes. Relax the toes. Relax the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet, and the heels. Release the ankles. Relax the calves and shins. Release the knees and the space behind the knees. Relax the tops of the thighs and the backs of the thighs. Let the pelvis be heavy and sink into the earth. Relax the abdomen. Thank it for all its hard work today. You're going to relax the spine from the tailbone all the way up into the base of the skull. Release the rib cage and let go of breath. Let the shoulders be heavy and sink into the earth. Relax the upper arms, elbows, and lower arms. Release the wrists. They did a lot of work today too. Relax the hands, fingers, and palms. Relax the throat and the back of the neck. Nice and long on the back of the neck. Release the jaw. Smooth the forehead and face. Let any last thoughts seep out the top of the crown of the head. Let the earth's gravity hold you. Let the air around you breathe in. Take the next few moments and just be. Gently coming back into awareness. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Roll your head side to side. When you're ready, and with an inhale, rolling over onto your right or left side. So where our thoughts go, our energy goes. So if we're thinking about our strong bones and strong core, that's where we're like making fists and muscles here. When you're ready, pushing up to a comfortable seated position. All right, that was a lot of work. So let's do our least effort breath here, in my opinion. All right, hands on the knees. We're going to inhale, let the hands float up. Exhale, let the hands float back down. 3 times. Ready? Here we go. Inhale, hands float up. Exhale, hands float back down. Again, inhale. And exhale. And one more glorious time. Inhale, hands float up. Exhale, hands float back. Hands come together at the heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks, gang. Don't get mad.
The next time we try to play dead dog.
Okay, hold on. Bye, guys.